that we did some video, but this camera is even better than that. And you know,
So is this a current camera?
it's a current camera. It's a Kodak product. It's a ZI-8. Now there's a Z10, which allows you to edit right on it. But it's just absolutely amazing, and it's you don't have to bring in extra lights and heat the room up even more than it actually is. So
Now, John,
it's pretty cool.
John, you also told us that the video has been a good vehicle for you in helping clients of yours raise money. How would you suggest that organizations look to this vehicle?
Well, there's two ways to look at it. When I say raise money, there's two aspects of that. One is, I should have it on myself when I'm talking. Huh? One aspect is if you're asking for other people for money to build your business, that's one thing. I mean, you can go on Kickstarter and put a business, that type of thing. Or what I've had some clients, colleges, when they were doing their anniversary class fundraising, we'd get a bunch of classmates together, not my own class, well actually my own class as well, but when colleges were utilizing video to ask for money, the giving rate doubled once the video came out, because it's not your standard borax letter that you get from a college that's written by somebody who probably didn't even go there. You know, they talk about the same generic things about how this school formed our mindset and, you know, was great to us and we didn't appreciate it when we were there. When in fact, peer giving is much greater, has a much greater response. So we've been able to incorporate that for several fundraising opportunities.
So how do you make money?
I charge a fee.
Okay.
Simple as that. And we charge a fee for the product. You want X number of videos done, that is what the fee is. But the circumstance that I've learned is if a person wants to buy 4 videos, I'll give them 5 or 6. The big thing in business today is people are not delivering what they say they're delivering. And regardless of whether you're a new company, an old company, a small company, or a multinational company, if you over-deliver what your original promise was, then people will want to buy from you again. Simple as that. And don't mix them up.
Right.
Don't mix them up. If you've got dyslexia with that, then you've got an issue.
In other words, get clients that have low expectations.
You know what's interesting, by the way, though, when you talk about videos and usage, a lot of the universities now and development offices are really, you know, you talk about your class, of really trying to move their alumni to really get them to the next level, because just the cost of education. And I see, especially universities that are small universities that are really trying to reach their alumni, your vehicle could be very, very helpful.
Absolutely, because what it does, it allows the institution to take the class officer, the class agent, and put them on camera. And if they don't live near the college can send them that camera and they can shoot it at home. We've totally demystified the unavailability of video with this new technology, and I marvel at the capabilities that are out there today. Last week we were down in Louisville, Kentucky, doing some video for a national trade show, RVs. I happen to own an RV and I take off on weekends, but we were doing a national trade show, and we had people that were competitors of ours that were lugging the big cameras around, and they came to us and said, why are we schlepping this stuff when we can
And this
carry
is
that?
all you were using, what I'm holding right now?
That is the exact camera. That is
That's
the exact
great.
camera.
That's great.
I mean, I can show you examples. It's absolutely amazing.
And you can find it at your local Target?
Yeah, you Target, I think Office Max, Staples, etc.
Wow.
You don't need the $10,000 cameras.
That's great.
It's just
Does it
amazing.
take pictures as well?
It does take pictures as well. And you know, we put something on today. I'll show you when we're done. We took about 200 stills and put them into this project, this format called Animoto. And I'm not a techie. I mean, I found one thing. I'm a marketing person. I will align myself with techies, and then between the two of us, we get a good product together. But we put 275 stills in a 3.5-minute video because people want to see themselves. They want to see a picture of themselves. I call it like a new age high school yearbook. What is the first thing you did?
See, I don't want my picture on it. I want to take pictures for Facebook and YouTube of everybody else. And I don't want my face up there.
And you're justified in not having your face.
Right.
Right, because
Mark's face we see at the post office. Your face, you know.
I know. But we can't use that face for radio thing anymore. That's been used so many
old.
times.
That's old, and it's very old with me too. I've used it too often.
Right, exactly. And others have brought it up as well, I'm sure.
But the spirit of Jeffrey Davis lives on.
Yeah. Now you're sideways. Now you're going to be sideways. Jeff, hold it. There you go.
This way I got the Radio Entrepreneurs logo. He looked good with that as a background.
Good because it's a horizontal logo.
Yeah, you're going to have to fix that when you edit it.
I will do that. I'll do it. That'll be fun, but I don't know how to edit. You know what I had to do at Thanksgiving? I can say Thanksgiving, right? I can't say Christmas on the radio anymore. Can't say any holidays, etc. But we can say Thanksgiving. Day after Thanksgiving, I'm at my nephew.
You can say Thanksgiving. You can say Christmas. You can say Hanukkah.
You know what? We're so politically
equal opportunity.
We're so politically messed up these days that by trying
too much pasteurization.
Right. Yeah, or homogenization.
And milk, and you know, I lived on a farm when I was a student as a kid, and the milk tastes like milk. I drink milk now. I don't know what it tastes like.
You're right. There's so many different.
It's like Mark was talking to us about parties in one of his other stories, and about how you can't do anything at parties anymore, corporate parties. Don't you want to go to a party and not talk to anybody? Whoopee!
Well, you know what? I've I don't want to get political, but it really is a business issue. By trying to offend no one, we offend everyone. Because you can't say anything. You have to be, I've got to be generic. I've got to speak in front of 450 people at a Chamber of Commerce event later this week, and I am going to have the guts to go up and say Merry Christmas. And
something interesting. Here's the other.
Next week's Hanukkah, so don't forget that.
I'll bring that up as well.
If you know now here's the other thing with talking political. If somebody is Jewish, is it okay to say Happy Hanukkah? And if somebody is Christian, is it okay to say Merry Christmas?
Why not? We're respecting who they are.
Exactly. I think so.
Exactly.
But again, a lot of people feel just say Happy Holidays because you shouldn't identify that you know that this person is of one persuasion or another. That's the PC world we live in today.
And you know what? Here's the crazy part. In business, people need to develop relationships with others, so they need to find out other people's backgrounds.
Correct.
So they have the capabilities with social media, such as LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, to find out somebody's background.
When I interview people for companies, I don't look at the resume. Everybody's had professional resume writers all over it.
Right, and they're not even real.
I do a lot.
Yeah, I know.
What I do is I go through the person's life history because I look at their trends and their decisions in their life. Mark and I have talked about this in other stories because he owns a placement firm. Unless you get into where people are from and where their background is, you get a sense of really how they deal with stress, how they make decisions, how they've made, and you learn about their patterns. And that's what you're hiring. You're hiring people's patterns because that's the way they're going to work.
And the patterns don't show up in a static piece of paper.
No.
You can you know what? I look in people's eyes. I've got to interview two people this afternoon. 3 people. I can't count. That's why I'm not the accountant. I've got to interview 2 people this afternoon.
I thought you were telling me read between the lines.
That too.
I'm much more dignified than that. But I wrote them an email yesterday, who I am, so they have my name. And one of the things that I'm going to do today is ask them what they know about me. Because if they're going to be in sales, they should have Googled my name.
Done their homework.
They should find out where I went to college. They should find out my previous background.
We got to do a story on that, Mark.
You know what's interesting?
Do your homework.
But that's interesting because I prep candidates for interviews every day and night. And that's the one thing. It's not enough to look, for example, we do a lot of work in the legal field. It's not enough to look at the attorney's bio on their website. They got to go beyond that because there's so many things beyond that if you want to know about the person.
Right. And you're hiring a person. You're not hiring a grade point average, and you're not hiring a class.
You're hiring a person that, when you need them, is going to come through under stressful conditions, is going to be creative, knows how to be creative, and deal with ambiguity, and have ambiguity, and have passion. And you don't get that from a resume.
No, you don't. The resume is static. It's one-dimensional, and it's usually written. Many times, it's not even written by the person whose name is on it, and consequently, it uses all those generic HR terms, like to show my expertise in certain area and help people.
I know.
Just help people. That's the other thing. People.
I want to help people.
When people say about my business, they come into interview with that. Why are you interested in business? I want to help you. it's not necessarily that kind of business. Ours is a sales business, a hard business.
Well,
sure, you're going to help people, employers get talented people, but it's in a different way. Listen, I know your time is precious, so I also wanted to ask you, since you're an expert, are there any particular pitfalls you should have entrepreneurs avoid as they use social media?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. It's an excellent question. Video is not for everyone. If you don't have a personality, if you hate to stereotype certain backgrounds, but generally people that are of the engineering background and the math background and the black and white backgrounds, they may not come off very well. They may be absolutely brilliant and be the best in the world at what they do, but if they don't come off well on camera, then that would not be the vehicle for you to do that.
You know something interesting? Years ago, I heard about the classic stories of Tom Menino. They had him running for office, finally for mayor, after being in the position when I guess Ray Flynn was appointed.
Mm-hmm.
And with Tom Menino,
to the Vatican, yeah.
Right. And so with Tom Menino, they worked with him. They couldn't work on his speech or how he projected. And finally, somebody said, "Let him be himself. I'm not a talker, but a doer." And so when everybody sees Tom Menino, they'll say, he doesn't speak that bad, or whatever his...
But I have the political mechanism to get me re-elected too.
Right,
So,
but he's a doer. He's a doer. And people
Right.
see him about every event. I mean, unfortunately, he's been hospitalized recently, but every event he's out there, he's a doer, and he's working for the city. And that's... So he may not be the best person to put on video, but you're right, there are other vehicles that might work for him.
Yep.
well, John, this has been a long segment. It's never long enough. We never have enough time with you.
I'd be happy to come back.
It's a pleasure having you back, and I'm glad you came and visited us. You're a serial returning visitor. Yeah.
And you mean that in the best possible
I do.
way,
Do
right?
you want to tell?
My brother works for
Kellogg's,
Kellogg's.
but I don't know if I like the other cereal.
He did. He always makes those serial comments.
I'll bring some Kellogg's products.
Listen, Mr. Puffed Rice, will you tell people how to get hold of you?
Yes, they can write to me because I'm doing a brand new website right now, so they can write to Original John DiPietro. It's spelled DiPietro @gmail.com. We're
That's
just
great.
in the process of a website renewal, and I don't want to give the old address.
Great.
Any phone number that you think?
Phone number 508-397-2974. That's 508-397-2974. Operators are standing by now to take your call. Licensed drivers only. Void where prohibited. Offer may vary in some states. Call before midnight today.
And if you're really careful and you walk the streets of Cape Cod in the summers, you'll see Grandpa pushing his little grandchild around.
Grandchildren.
Oh, grandchildren.
2.5. 2.5 girls. We're going to have a new movie now.
How do you have a half a girl? I don't even want to get into that.
She's en route.
Oh, en route. Okay.
Halfway out.
Okay. This is Jeffrey Davis with Mark Z and John DiPietro on Radio Entrepreneurs. We'll be right back after this break. Okay, what's the name of that camera?
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Kodak Studios with Mark Z. Mark, we have a serial returning guest, a great entrepreneur. Why don't you introduce him?
And a social media expert of the nth degree. John DiPietro is the president of ABC/D. John, great to have you here today.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm particularly enamored with your color-coded microphone windshields in a building that has no wind.
Well, we gave Mark the green for a reason.
Money. He's the money guy.
Well, I guess so. We'll call him the money guy. But John, instead of talking about us, why don't you tell our listeners first what you do? Because the famous John DiPietro has not been on in at least 6